A collapse is certainly evident. The general public, however, is not aware of this because they are practically zombies, and part of that comes from their television. As you see in the news, you will watch the constant reminder that everything is just okay. Take a look at this article out of Bloomberg. Is the stock market about to go totally 90s? If you read this article, it talks about how they're seeing many parallels between this and the 90s, and have no fear, your stocks are going to go up. This is nothing but propaganda as usual, as they try to calm the markets to continue allowing people to take their savings and putting it into this incinerator for it to be evaporated eventually. I believe that the public is unaware, the general public that is unaware of the reality of the situation and how detrimental it is. And one of the major sources of that is this propaganda. Many people get their information from television, they get it from the newspapers, all of which are controlled media. That's why individuals who join the Money GPS and other YouTube channels like it, we're really trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. And I believe that television and other media sources are a source of this zombification of the world. And in this article, I'm talking specifically about the US. If you look over here, you'll see over 5 hours a day of TV watching for most people in the US. 5 hours a day. Now, many people may think they get home from work, they want to watch some TV, they want to relax. I totally understand that. I totally get what the reason why they're watching this television. However, I would like to discuss how detrimental it is to the human body. If we go here on the top sentence, basically it talks about how the television actually works, and it's saying that the camera cuts, the pans, the zooms, they use them frequently in TV and movies, and these are actually triggering the brain's orienting response. This orienting response is basically your flight or fright mechanism, and this is triggered, something that should really never be triggered unless you're running away from a predator or a loud noise comes and you need to run away. So this type of thing should not really happen, not only every day, it should happen very infrequently. However, when you're watching television, it happens between every 3 to 10 seconds. So you could imagine the effect that this has on your brain, basically desensitizing you. If you read this article here, and there's many other things you can do research on the orienting response, you'll hear that this affects the alpha waves. It makes your brain into an alpha state, which is essentially sleepwalking. So what you have when you talk about zombies, the public are zombies, and you look at them, they look like zombies. This is actually a reality because they are watching television for 5 hours a day, putting them into this alpha state. Their orienting response is being triggered so often that it's essentially destroying their brain and bringing them to a lower level. If you watched or read the book Brave New World, you'll see that lower class of society that they had in there. The lower classes were essentially individuals who were destroyed in a similar fashion here, but that's of course fiction. And then you get to other things here. Can TV lead to Alzheimer's? People watch too much television could increase their risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, warn doctors. And of course, while these are just links, this is something to pay attention to because it does affect the brain. So when you're wondering why can this propaganda exist? Why can all of the media systems get through to some people and totally submerge them in this propaganda, and other people simply are not? And that is because of the media that they choose to watch. If they're watching the CNN and they're reading the New York Times and they're reading it just at face value, they will submit to the propaganda. Another article here, the relationship between viewing in the midlife and television viewing in the midlife and the development of Alzheimer's disease in a case-controlled study. And they found that participating in non-intellectually stimulating activities is associated with the risk of increasing Alzheimer's disease. So this is yet another finding. This is out of the PubMed showing this, but the point is the same, is that when you're not doing things that are stimulating, when you're not writing, when you're not talking to your family and friends, you are damaging your brain in such a way. However, at the same time, you're basically shutting off your brain, and it's very you will submit to that propaganda, to that marketing that they have. So whether this is to use in the way that Hitler has used, or even modern governments have used, this is very easy to do because of this strategy that they've used. They know how to attack us on a scientific level, and it seems to be working very well. If you guys want to get onto the Money GPS Insiders, this is a way to get a hold of me. Should the YouTube shut me down, you can get on here, and I will send you an email when YouTube will shut me down. I'll send you an email and let you know where I am, and you can get a hold of me there. The Insiders is basically a way for me to get information to you that I cannot from the YouTube, and also an extension of the work I do in my book. Take care.